Hello and good morning. It is Thursday here at Boulder Crest, Virginia, and I'm hopping on to provide some yoga, a nice easy flow for our families that are staying in the cabins. And this can be easily accessed on YouTube. We'll put out the link for everyone. So families, if you're here at Boulder Crest, you have the link already sent to you via email. But this is just, again, a nice easy flow. We will do some standing poses, and then we'll follow up with some seated poses, and then always end in our rejuvenation Shavasana pose. So as you practice yoga, always remember you're inhaling and exhaling through the nose. With every inhale, you're always trying to find length through the spine, opening up through the hands. And then every exhale, you're just kind of deepening into the pose. Always honor your body. Recognize the difference between a good stretch and what feels painful. So again, your yoga maybe look different than my yoga, which is totally fine. So without further ado, we'll get started with our breath and just kind of centering ourselves, grounding ourselves in our practice, clearing our mind and becoming present for our yoga session. So as you can see, I'm not using a mat today. I'm just kind of in front of this fireplace. The heat from the fire really warms up your muscles and allows you to kind of get into those poses a little bit better, stretch those muscles. The heat really helps with that. So however a comfortable position looks for you, come to that now. And just again, start to ground yourself. Feel that foundation of the earth supporting you. Start to check in with your body, check in with your breath, breathing in and out through the nose. Sitting up nice and tall, opening up through the chest, allowing the heart to take in all the positive energy from the room, from the atmosphere, from the earth that we're about to receive as we begin our practice. Inhale, exhale. It's going to be about a 30-minute session. It's always important. Some people have an idea that yoga has to be, an hour or 90 minutes. Yoga can be as long as you make it. So, coming to your mat for 10 minutes just to breathe, find that calmness and stillness in the mind. If you're feeling anxious, yoga is perfect for that. If you have longer, 25, 30 minutes, that's great. If you have an hour, even better. But again, any time for yoga is great. Just start to connect with the breath. Bringing yourself into the present moment. Clearing the mind and quieting the noise. Feeling that rise and the fall of the diaphragm. Just really checking in with yourself. Notice how your body feels before your practice. And then at the end, check in with yourself to see how you feel after your practice. And hopefully you feel a little bit more calm, a bit more centered and grounded and ready to take on the day. As you ground and try to still the mind, our minds will wander. And just bring your attention back to this time. By being aware of all that noise your mind creates, being aware of the thoughts that come in, and just as easily allow all of that to exit your mind. Focusing on you and your time on your mat today and your breath. Take 5 more cycles of breath, just inhaling and exhaling through the nose. As you finish your breath, your pranayama, Go ahead and think of an intention, what you want to get out of your practice today. Your intention can just be time to yourself, time to breathe, time to move. It can be an intention of gratitude, being grateful for your breath, being grateful for your body, just being grateful for the time that you have to yourself to practice your yoga. Think of that intention, and as you practice, as your mind wanders, because it will, just come back to that intention to bring your focus back to your practice. Go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. We'll take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, and we'll exhale everything out through the mouth. I always like to say, as we're inhaling all that gratitude, all that positive, good energy, and we're exhaling any negative talk, any negative energy we may be holding on to as we exhale through the mouth. Inhale deeply through the nose, and sigh it all out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. One last deep inhalation in. And exhale everything out. Slowly begin to open your eyes, bringing your awareness back to the room, back to your practice. We'll begin in tabletop, which is just on all fours. Do the best angle here. So again, as we're in tabletop position, just make sure your shoulders are directly over the wrists and your hips are directly over those knees. The knees are hip-width distance apart. We're just going to work our spine here, warming it up a bit before we begin our practice. Inhale, look up, really dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone, arching the back, cow pose. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin, gaze at the belly button, cat pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, really round the spine, tuck the chin, cat pose. Do this 5 more times using your own breath. Really focusing on the arch of that spine and the rounding of the spine as you exhale. Just kind of warming ourselves up here. And as you finish, just come to a nice neutral back. I'm going to spin here so you can see what I'm doing. And we're just going to find some dynamic movement with our thread the needle, okay? So go ahead and bring your left hand into the center of your body, so it's kind of directly at your heart center. You're going to inhale the right arm up. Look up at the hand if it feels good. If not, just keep your gaze forward. And as you exhale, you're going to thread it under your body. Come to rest on the shoulder. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, thread it under. Stretching that shoulder. Inhale up 2 more times. Exhale, thread it. Inhale, bring it back up. Last time, exhale, thread it through. Inhale, bring it back up. Perfect. And switch sides. What we do on one side, we must do on the other. So bring the right hand into the center of that body. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale, thread it under. Stretching that left shoulder. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale. Exhale, thread it under. Last time. Inhale, really stretch through the fingertips. Exhale, thread it under. And inhale the arm up. Exhale down. Come into a quick child's pose here. So your knees can be together like this, or they can be far wide as your mat or as it feels comfortable. Toes together, big toes. Exhale, sit down on those heels. and then reach out with your arms for the front of the mat. And just take a couple of breaths here while I adjust my screen. Check back in with the breath. Move the hips side to side, maybe if that feels good. On your next inhale, go ahead and walk your hands as far as you can to the right, feeling a nice stretch in the left side body here. Keeping your head down, maybe bringing the left hand over the right. And just stretching, inhaling. Maybe come up on the fingertips if you want a deeper stretch here. One more breath. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, walk the hands far left as it feels good to you. Right hand over the left, head down. Feeling a nice stretch through the right side body this time. One more breath. Inhale, bring the hands back to center. Inhale, come up to that tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. So here, do what feels good to you. Pedal the feet, rise up on the tippy toes, and then press the heels down. Bringing that head in between the arms. Pedal the feet, bending the knees, one or the other. Stretching the back of the legs down through the calves here. It is a little bit difficult on this carpet. I end up sliding. Maybe shake your head, yes and no. Yeah, and just do what feels comfortable. If this starts to wear on your shoulders, just drop down to the tabletop again. And then come back up to down dog. We're here for 2 more breaths. Last breath. Go ahead and walk the hands to meet the feet. Coming into a nice forward fold. Keep a nice bend in the knees if the hamstrings are tight, and bring your chest down to the knees. I enjoy this. It feels really good as a runner. My hamstrings are always tight, so this forward fold feels really good to me. Clasp opposite elbows with opposite hands, and just let your upper body hinge. Swaying back and forth, dropping the head, relaxing the muscles in the face. One more breath. Inhale, bring the fingertips to the shins, gaze is forward, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Mountain pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come to that halfway lift, a nice flat back. This time, as you exhale, plant your hands and come into a high plank. So again, making sure those shoulders are directly over the wrists. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, tuck those elbows in, lower down, Chaturanga. Oops, can you see me? No. So you're on your belly, and as you inhale, come into a nice cobra. Small back bend. Your hands should be right at your rib cage. Those thumbs are there, and as you inhale, just lift up. Gaze is forward. Pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. Your legs aren't lifted. Exhale, come to your left cheek. Inhale, come back into a nice baby cobra. Exhale, come to your right cheek. This time as you inhale, come to tabletop. Exhale, come back into downward dog. We're gonna add some dynamic movement here. So if you're just a beginner in yoga, a great way to see if you're in the correct position for down dog is if from your down dog, as you inhale, you shift forward, you can come into a nice perfect plank. Exhale, down dog. Okay, so just adding a little bit of movement. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. That was our last one. Take one breath here. Bend the knees. Step right, step left. Come into forward fold. Again, keep a nice bend in the knees if your hamstrings are tight. Inhale, come into that halfway lift. I'm going to get this technology right sooner or later. You guys wait and see. Inhale, come into a nice flat back, gazes forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, mountain pose. Exhale, fold forward. A little bit faster. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, come into that plank pose again. Shoulders directly over the wrists. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, down dog. One breath here. Inhale, look forward. Step your right foot between your hands. Press your chest in to that right quad. Lower the left knee down. Come into a nice low lunge. When you're ready, inhale, arms rise. You should feel a nice stretch in the back quad, through the hips. Opening up the chest, heart is forward. And finding length up through the fingertips. One more breath. As you exhale, bring that left hand to the inside of the right foot. Turn and look up to the right hand. Just finding a nice twist here in our low lunge. It might feel good to bring that right hand, reaching for the left hip, kind of opening up that shoulder a bit. One more breath. Bring your right hand on the other side of your foot. Go ahead and heel toe your foot as far wide as it feels comfortable, this right foot. Let the right knee open up, coming into lizard pose. So I like to add a little bit of pressure, opening up my hip a little bit more because my hips are always tight. You can leave it. You can stay here on your palms. You can lower down onto your forearms. That's a pretty deep stretch right there. It might feel good again just to stay on that left palm. Use the right to open up that right hip. I love hip openers because we keep a lot of tension, a lot of emotion stored in our hips. So these are all great poses. Use your breath to get through it. You might feel it in your hip. And then you're gonna kind of heel toe this right foot to the opposite side of your mat. We're coming into a half pigeon. So drop the shin and knee onto the mat, trying to keep your leg parallel with the front of the mat. The left leg is still extended. You don't want to drop onto your right hip, okay? You kind of want to stay up and lifted. So you can totally stay here on your palms, drop down onto the forearms, which is deeper, or you can fully extend your hands out, bring your head down, okay? So do what feels good for you. If you feel like you're having trouble with this leg not being parallel, you can let it kind of come in a little bit if that feels better. And then almost that left hip is kind of resting on the heel of your right foot. And then you might be able to come down to your forearms here. Stay here for 3 more breaths. Last 2. Last breath. Inhale, place those hands back on the mat. Lift up on the left leg. Bring the right leg back, coming into that plank pose. Exhale, down dog. And we're just going to switch sides. So as you inhale, step the left foot forward, pushing that chest into the left quad this time. Exhale, bring the right knee down. And when you're ready, inhale, arms rise. Again, feeling a nice stretch here in that right quad, in the hip, and in this front quad. Pushing the heart forward and finding length through the arms and fingers. No spaghetti arms. One more breath. Drop the right hand to the inside of that foot. Inhale, twist, look up at the left hand. Again, maybe bringing that left hand to reach for the right hip. Stretching the shoulder and opening up that way might feel good, or just leaving it up in the air. Adjust your gaze. If you have any neck issues, just gaze down at your foot. One more breath. As you exhale, bring that hand down. And again, we're walking this left foot to the outside of our mat, letting it kind of roll onto the outer edge of our foot, coming into lizard pose. So again, you can stay here on your palms. That word was hard. Or you can kind of stay on your right palm. Use the left to open up that hip a little bit more, getting deeper into the pose. You could drop down onto your forearms. You can use a block. Whatever feels good for you. Use your breath. 2 more breaths here. Last one. And then heel toe that left foot over to the other side of the mat. So just imagine my mat is here, even though it's not. Drop the shin and the knee, coming into half pigeon. Again, if it has trouble kind of staying parallel, just kind of let it tuck a little bit. Let that right hip rest on the heel, come down onto your forearms, or fully extend the arms and bring the head down. Whatever you feel comfortable with. You should feel a nice stretch in the outer edge of your left hip here. Stay here for 3 more breaths, really releasing that tension and getting our hips open. These are great if you sit a lot, if you have a long commute. Last breath. Perfect. Come back up onto the palms. Push up on that right foot, and then swing the left foot back, plank pose. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, Chaturanga, come down to your belly. And then you're just gonna roll onto your back as we come to our final poses of our practice. So come onto your back, keep your legs bent. Feet are hip width distance apart. Bring your heels as close to your sitting bones as possible. So you can come into bridge pose. Pressing your shoulders into the mat, keeping your neck in line with your spine. Palms are face down. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift up those hips towards the ceiling, towards the sky, really reaching, really lifting, making sure most of your weight is on those shoulders. If that doesn't feel good, put a pillow, a blanket, or a block, and just come to a nice supported bridge pose. We're here for 5 more breaths. Really try to keep those hips elevated. Maybe pretend you're holding a block in between your quads to really engage those. Pressing down through the heels at each toe point. Three more breaths. Squeezing those glutes. Last breath here. Inhale, go ahead and lower down to the mat. And then bring your knees together, feet are to the outside of the mat, and just windshield wiper the legs, bringing the knees to the floor, kind of releasing any tension in the spine. Perfect. Inhale, bring the knees to the chest. Bring your chin to the chest and just kind of rock back and forth, giving yourself a nice little hug. Bring the soles of your feet together. You're going to come into butterfly pose. Drop the feet to the mat, letting those legs open up like a butterfly. Again, the closer that you bring your heels, the deeper stretch you're going to get. If that doesn't feel good, just move the heels farther away from your sitting bones. Tuck the shoulder blades. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. As we come to our final poses of our practice, maybe flutter your butterfly a little bit here. Feeling a nice stretch there on the inside of our legs. Kind of let our breath come back to normal. Reconnect, breathing in and out through the nose. 2 more breaths. And last breath. And we'll come into our final pose, Shavasana, extending our right leg and our left, letting the feet splay open, arms to the side, palms face up. Go ahead and tuck your shoulder blades. Tuck your hips under. Hopefully that's better. Kind of tuck those little fatty pieces. We all have them. And again, just allow yourself to rejuvenate. Allow your muscles to rest. Just with any exercise that you do, it's important to stretch and take the time for your muscles to come back. Take that time to rejuvenate them for your next workout. Allow your breath kind of melt away. Allow your body to sink into the earth, releasing all of your muscles. And just allowing your body to be Shavasana. It's important to stay in Shavasana for at least 1 minute. I invite you to stay as long as you can in Shavasana, allowing your body to rejuvenate. When you're done with Shavasana, kind of turn onto your favorite side, cradle your head, push yourself up to a nice seated position, keeping your eyes closed. As we close our practice today, bring your hands to heart center. Thank you for showing up on your mat, being kind to yourself. I'm grateful for the practice and the ability to teach at Boulder Crest. May your day be filled with positivity as we continue to get through the year of 2021. In deepest gratitude, namaste, yogis. Thanks for watching. Tune in on Thursday, Saturday. I will do another yoga session available on YouTube. Namaste. And end.